Well. Welcome back to some of you. Some of you guys were watching another stream that I had running, and that stream got taken down. Uh, I think I know why. What's up? What's up, Jermaine? What's up, Crazy Ron Gaming? Yeah, man. I'll wait a few minutes and let a few people get up in here, man. But yeah, I was doing a stream just a few moments ago. I had it demonetized, but the NFL swooped in and took it down. So what I was trying to do, I guess, isn't going to work. Normally I do member-only content with NFL footage, and it's usually fine because I demonetize. But I guess if it's a stream, I don't know. I guess maybe if it's a stream, then it doesn't quite work like that. And they got me. I got the notice that said, hey, due to copyright, you can't stream. This stream was cut short. I saw some of you guys in the chat saying, man, I just lost audio and just lost video, but that's what happened. So I said, hey, since I'm already streaming and since I got some of you guys' attention already, I might as well go ahead and do my pregame show now, man, instead of waiting until tomorrow. Go ahead and get it out of the way. So welcome to what I like to call the before play. Basically what I talk about a little bit before the next contest. And this video is relatively short, doesn't last too long. It's relatively short, man. It's in and out. But what I want to talk about a little bit, man, is their upcoming opponent. Things that I think the Steelers would need to do if they want to secure victory, as well as we take a look at the injury report. So let me check really quick, guys, and see who all is up in here. Let me just make sure, you know, it's not like we're going to have a huge crowd or anything. I just want to see if we got some viewership a little bit. All right, we got about 13, 14 people in here. So, all right, I'll go ahead and get started. So the Pittsburgh Steelers will be facing off against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks, a Sam Darnold-led Seattle Seahawks. And what I'm going to do really quick, man, let me just take a look. I want to look and see what Seattle's stats were in their first contest, man, this past week. I know Kenneth Walker didn't do great because I had him. He's one of my fantasy backs, and he didn't give me much. So let me just look back and see, man. What's up, Mark? What's going on? He said, what up, Sim? So do you think Echols gets to start on Sunday? Yeah, man. I'm gonna get to it, Mark. It's bad news that I did not want to see, and I just saw it. Let me see what the Seahawks did last week, guys. Hold on. Let's take a look at that statistics, if you will. And actually, I could put this up on the screen. Hold on. Hold on. Let me make sure. No, NFL footage is show. Oh, okay, I should be able to do it. Hold on, I can show y'all here. Bada boom, bada bang. You guys see that? All right, you guys should be able to see that. So let's just take a look, man, at what Seattle did. This is San Francisco, but if we look at the Seahawks, Sam Darnold, 16 completions out of 23 attempts, 150 yards, was sacked one time, an 87.23 rating, no touchdowns. If we look at the running backs, Cabernet, 12 for 47, 3.9 on the ground as far as his average, had one touchdown. And I told you, Kenneth Walker didn't do nothing. Did absolutely nothing, man. And that's the one area where my fantasy league needs to improve is running backs. You know, I got caught up. I was at practice, guys, and I really couldn't draft the way I wanted. I got some good picks, though, you know, as far as offensive weapons, but my running backs, I suffer with that. I have what's my man's name? Aaron Jones and Kenneth Walker are my two starters. So definitely looking for more backs. I actually just picked up Kenneth Gainwell seeing that Kenneth Gainwell is getting a little bit of time with us, so I might have to utilize him some weeks. We'll see. But anyway, they didn't do anything on the ground either, guys. Again, if we're looking at this correctly, they 84 total yards. You know, however you feel about San Francisco's defense, you know, they probably had something to do with that, but they didn't do anything. Now, this right here, Jackson Smith and Jigba, 9 receptions for 124 yards, did not score, but 124 yards. Cooper Kupp didn't do much either. So what I would say, man, is they really didn't have a powerful offense. Not at all. I mean, even if you look at this Love kid, I love him, you know, no pun intended. You know, he kind of led the way with tackles. He's a safety. So, you know, if your safeties are making tackles, a lot of times you would assume that the ball is being ran pretty well by the other team. Let's take a look really quick and see what they did. Decent. You know, McCaffrey, 69 yards on the ground, no touchdowns, but Brian Robinson, 33 yards, had a slightly higher average. So they ran the ball fairly decent, 119 yards collectively. And it was just one of those hard-nosed games, I guess. But anyway, you know, kind of taking it off of them. It's going to be interesting, guys. What I think the Steelers definitely will need to do, first and foremost, we're going to have to control the run game. We definitely got to do that. But before I even get into that, man, let's take a look at something that's very important, man. And Mark just pointed it out. Let's take a look at this injury report, man. We'll start with the Steelers, obviously. As you can see, guys, Joey Porter Jr. is out. Joey Porter Jr. is out. That is not good. Deshaun Elliott is out. I don't like that either, even though, listen, we were able to kind of, you know, plug and play some guys. You know, good thing we did. We did a good job building our roster, whether it's Chuck Clark and others. And also now we have Jabril Peppers that should be able to get in there and kind of, you know, play that Deshaun Elliott role, if you will. So, yes, it is a loss. He's a big communicator in our defense. We know that. He has a huge role, but I think you can kind of mix and match and get some of the same style of play of Deshaun Elliott with Jabril Peppers as well as Chuck Clark. But the bigger one, man, to me is Joey Porter Jr. Also, if you want to say Derek Harmon, but we knew Harmon was out, you know, hopefully he can get back sooner than later. But that Joey Porter Jr. being out is significant. And I'll explain the reasons why in just a moment. Let's take a look at the Seattle side of things. Seattle, safety Nick Imanwori, is that correct? He is out, but whoa, this is one I didn't see. Devin Witherspoon is doubtful. Okay. If I can borrow a saying from Jim Carrey in one of his wacky movies, some of y'all might know it. Oh, Katie Rady. Oh, Katie Rady. Yeah. Okay. Now that's a positive for the Steelers, but let's look at some of the other guys, man. You know, I like to look at also who's on the report just in case they pop up, you know, tonight or tomorrow or something like that as an unexpected. Wide receiver Jake Bobo, concussion, but he was full. Ernest Jones was full with the shoulder. Julian Love was limited with the groin. So, you know, keep an eye on that. You just never know. Nwusu was full, dealing with the knee. Jaron Reed was full, dealing with the back. Keep an eye on that as well. You never know, the back, you know, could tweak that or re-injure or something like that. And also, is it Derek Young? Wide receiver, not familiar with him, but Devin Witherspoon is the one that I am keeping my eyes on, guys. He didn't practice yesterday. Looks like he did not practice Thursday, nor did he practice on Wednesday. That is huge. Because if Devin Witherspoon is unable to play, obviously he is their biggest biggest component in that secondary, along with Love. I can't forget, I can't remember the other corner. Not familiar with the other guy who starts, but listen, Devin Witherspoon, obviously you would think would be the guy that would more than likely shadow a guy like DK Metcalf. If you don't have Witherspoon, then I like my chances with DK Metcalf. I like chances against Witherspoon as well, but Witherspoon is like that. So even though I'm going to be on the side of DK Metcalf and say I like my chances, Witherspoon is like that. If he is out, that is a huge plus for the Steelers, especially if the Steelers come out and run a lot of 12 personnel again, where you kind of hedge your bet or force the defense to kind of match that personnel, and maybe they try to play a box game and try to stop our run, even though our run didn't look great last week. But you get a lot of one-on-ones in that scenario, especially if we want to run more play action. So I definitely like my chances in those scenarios with no Devin Witherspoon. Now, the flip side of that, Joey Porter. Joey Porter being out, however you feel about Joey Porter, now it forces perhaps, will we see Jalen Ramsey playing more on the outside, with the receiver threat that the Seahawks have. Now, as far as I know, and you guys help me out here in the chat, I don't know their entire receiver group. Obviously I know Njigba, Smith and Jigba, but I don't know, is Tyler Lockett still there? Don't know about 2025, but I know he was there last year. But I really don't know their full complement of receivers. But I think, with having a very capable receiver, you might want to utilize Jalen Ramsey more at his corner spot on the outside, and maybe not so much on the inside as a nickel, and maybe not so much as a safety. However, Brandon Echols, and I saw Mark ask that question, again, shout outs to Omar Khan and Tomlin and Andy Weidel, whoever all had something to do with some of the people we brought in for depth. Echols, we were told earlier in the offseason or in training camp or what have you, that he would be primarily an outside guy. We've seen him play pretty decent in training camp. So maybe we just do that. Maybe he's just the replacement, and then you keep Jalen Ramsey where you're going to have him. But it's definitely, Lockett is in Tennessee. Wow. See, I don't keep up with him. I keep up with players for the most part, but not all the time. I'm more so concerned with our team, and I don't always know all of the free agency movement. So, that's right, Cooper Kupp. How could I forget him? They do have Cooper Kupp, so appreciate that, Y Diggy. You got Cooper Kupp, who's still a capable receiver, and you have Jackson and Jigba, Smith and Jigba, excuse me. So it's going to be interesting to see how we play that and who we play and where we play them. Again, no Corey Trice as well. So, you lose that big body guy if that's somebody that some of you guys are interested in. But then again, Brandon Echols has primarily worked on the outside. So maybe that's what the plan will be. But I'm very interested to see how they use Jabril Peppers as well, man. And like I said, I think he'll be able to fill some of the void of Deshaun Elliott in terms of just play style, right? Now, keys to victory, in my opinion, guys, listen. Steelers will need to be able to run the football. Does my opinion with that change a little bit with Devin Witherspoon being possibly out? Maybe. Because the reason why I said we would want the Steelers to be able to maintain being able to run the football, for one, obviously you make it an easier game. For two, you make it easier for the play action to work. For three, you're killing the time of possession. For four, if you're running the football well, you're extending drives, all of the above, right? But I did not want Aaron Rodgers to have to drop back and pass the ball 30, 40 times because the run game isn't working. And I don't want the pass rush to be able to get home, or at least he get touched the way he did in the Jets game. And a lot of times if you have solid secondary play, it allows the front end that much more time to rush your quarterback. So that's one main reason why I said I would want the Steelers to be able to run the football. But here's another reason why I'll come right back to it now. If Devin Witherspoon is doubtful and he's out, again, play action. Play action and getting DK on a one-on-one or any of the receivers. I even say Calvin Austin now with his speed. If there's not a top-tier corner to cover these guys, I like that matchup. We got to run the football, man. And us being able to stop the football goes without saying, but also the Steelers need to be able to rush the passer because, again, Sam Darnold is a guy who will throw the football. He'll air it out. Clearly, he connected with Smith and Jigba 9 times for 124 yards last week, right? And again, Cooper Kupp is a capable receiver as well. So I think Seattle would probably pass the ball a bit more because, again, that's in Darnold's DNA. So I would like us to be able to rush the passer. I mean, you don't want to always say the obvious, we need to stop the run. That is very obvious. But on top of that, I do think the Seahawks will try to attack us in the pass game as well. So I want to see us be able to, get a rhythm and apply some real serious pressure. Do we win the game? I don't know, guys. I don't. I feel better going into this game than at this point last season because Aaron Rodgers him in the offense, put up 34 points. So it's funny to see already in week 2, I have a different level of, I don't want to say confidence, but optimism going into this game because I'm like, well, we can score. I think the Jets defense was, pretty solid. So I feel like, hey, we can score. I feel like we should be able to score against Seattle. I'm going to feel that way when we play, next week? I think New England. I don't think any of these two defenses scare me. I think the Jets on paper probably was a very formidable opponent. So if we can do that against them, I'm actually feeling a little more optimistic that we can continue that. So will we win? Who knows? Can we win? I think so. I think if the Steelers have the same offensive output, I think we will win the game, in my opinion. But it's going to start with that pressure, man. I don't want to allow, as much as, of course, I don't want us to allow the run game to get going. That goes without saying. But also, this is a game because, again, I think Sam Darnold is a guy that likes to air the ball out. We saw him do it in Minnesota last season. We got to be able to, ramp our pressure up in this particular game, just to see where we at. If for no other reason other than to see where we are. How does Alex and TJ look this time of the year? And Herbig, if we get Herbig back, it looks like we probably will. Actually, let me check that. Did Herbig show up on the injury report as far as, did he practice? Yeah, Nick Herbig was a full participant, guys. So that's good. Nick Herbig will be back in the fold. So, of course, we'll have him as well as TJ Watt, as well as Alex Highsmith, and as well as Jack Sawyer, I believe. So I want to see where our pass rushers are in terms of getting after it. Didn't have to do it as much against the Jets because we were primarily trying to play the run and stop the run. So that's it, man. That's all I got. Those would be my quick keys to victory, guys. We've been here about 20 minutes. Let me see what y'all got. Y'all got any questions, comments, concerns? And yeah, man, the NFL got me on that last stream. They got me, y'all. Even though I had monetization turned off. But I think maybe because I got a few Wonder Breads from some of y'all. I don't know what triggered it. I upload NFL content a lot for the members on the channel, which I intended to do a stream for members, and it went public. But anyway, I always thought when you don't monetize, then there's no big deal, but they took that stream right on down. Let me see what y'all got. Why Diggy says, got to be better in the trenches with Witherspoon is there or not? Yeah, absolutely. Also, got to force Donald to take more time to think about his reads and force mistakes. I'm with you there, brother. Emery Underwood says, if we pressure Donald, we win. Donald can't handle pressure. Watt and them boys need to come to play. I'm with you. Jermaine says, D-line needs to check their jock strap. All right, I feel you with that. He says 3 D linemen have to be on the field the whole game. Okay. You're making a point here. He says Holcomb has to be next to Queen, not Wilson. Well, I will say this. I'm definitely open to giving Holcomb, more opportunity. He's coming back off of injury and all of that. He definitely needs to get his feet wet. And if he can help, y'all know that I was a huge fan of Cole Holcomb all the way back to his Washington days. However, I wouldn't be so down on Peyton Wilson just because of, him literally, I'll say this, not really showing up in that Jets game. As I watched the All-22, he didn't. Patrick Queen had a better game than him, right? And whatever we want to say about the run game, Patrick Queen was in position more, made more tackle. Like, he played a better game as an inside back. And I know both of them have kind of different responsibilities, but Patrick Queen, watching the film, where it was times that you saw him, if he didn't make a play, he was right there, or he was trying, or he was holding responsibility. He clearly played better than what we saw Peyton Wilson do in that game. But again, guys, let's remember Peyton Wilson is a second-year linebacker. Let's remember how we felt about him last year. Maybe some of y'all didn't like him, but he had his moments. He's going to be fine, I think. So I don't want to jump the gun and, we're going to pull him and put Holcomb in. Now, if we want to do the rotation, sure. But Wilson is the future. He's the future, right? So we got to see who this kid is and what he's going to be. And that's the thing, guys, about wanting to pull people so fast. We can't with some of these young players. You spend draft picks on these guys and you think you got something, and you got them literally for 4 years on the cheap. You get 3 more seasons with this kid, including this season. See what he got. Now, if he just outright is playing, his game is in the toilet 6-7 weeks down the road, now it's a decision to make, but not after one game. Because if we're going to say that about him, I could say that about most of the defense in terms of how we defended the run. So I ain't throwing him in the trash yet. Maybe, Jermaine, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just giving you my perspective. You're right. He probably did get to start last season because Holcomb went down. I get it. But, you could say the same thing now, right? Holcomb was out pretty much the whole season, so he's got to get back into it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, Holcomb might not be the same guy. No. It was just the word I used, Jermaine. Yeah. We weren't arguing. It was just the word that I used. But I feel you, though. I absolutely feel you, man. I'm a big fan of Holcomb. So whichever guy is the best for us right now, like I said, if Peyton Wilson can't get it together, yeah, there should be a plan in place to get Holcomb back in the game. But I got you. What else, guys? I think that's probably it for me, man. I'll wait a few more minutes to see if you guys got any other questions and or concerns. What y'all got? That's about it for me. But hopefully we can get us another victory, man. I should be watching the game in real time Sunday. Should be. Now that I think about it, I might have to take my son somewhere, but either way, I'll be able to report on the game at some point. Emery says, Wilson just needs to play to his size. He is 6'4", 240. Dude should be blowing up blockers. Seems like he wants to be more finesse and run around blockers, but NFL blockers are just as good an athlete. Yeah, man. They're just athletic. You are right. I'm telling you guys, from the NFL level down to the little league level, it's the same thing I'm teaching my son and the other kids on the team. Like, you know, you can't finesse everything. I'm teaching them to run through blocks. My corners, my linebackers, everybody. Hit the blocker before he hits you. Make him think about it the next time. Run right through his chest, right through his shoulder. Hit him with that punch, rip, all of that. You can't always avoid it. Sometimes if you try to avoid it, you take yourself out to play. Why Diggy says Holcomb got hurt in 2023. It's been about 18 months since he's played. Rust might be a factor there. Yeah, absolutely, man. We have to think about that. We definitely need to use Darnell. Mark says it's smart to ease Holcomb back in on rundowns. That was a gruesome injury he came back from. Yeah, we just got to be patient with him too, man. You know, like I said, Holcomb might not be at the same level, right? He might not give you, I'll say, Jermaine, better than what you're seeing from Wilson. You know, and again, no fault of his own, but yeah, you know, we'll see. We'll see. Speaking of running backs, I definitely want to see Caleb Johnson get some more touches, man. Come on. Especially when we're playing, listen, nothing against Kenneth Gainwell, but when we playing this type of, 12 personnel, grinded out, power football type of, let me see the big boys carry the mail. Definitely want to get Gainwell in there as well. I think Gainwell has a lot to offer as far as his versatility, but And I know maybe, Caleb Johnson has got to slow roll it. I get that, right? And I get maybe his pass protection might not be, at a level where you might want it yet. But if we're just, like, if it's a show enough run play, he should be in there getting a few more touches. He only got one touch. And he was in for, I think, 2 plays, and that the second play was a pass play. So I need to see Caleb Johnson get some love, man. And yeah, I'm not opposed to allowing Jaylen Warren to get his rhythm, but I need Caleb to get in there, man. Why Diggy says Caleb got to hold on to the ball, but Gainwell fumbled too. So, right. But we'll see. We'll see. But all right, guys, this wasn't intended to be too long, man. Just wanted to be in and out, give my quick preview, chop it up with you guys. I'm sorry about the stream getting taken down a few moments ago when I was trying to show footage. For you guys who are members of the channel, I might cut another video just showcasing those plays. If not, man, I'll just say then it will be coming to you next week anyway, because I don't even know if you can even view. You might not even be able, to view that video of that stream, but we'll see. Oh, real quick. If Bud Crawford fights his fight, I think he can get Canelo out of there. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying knock him out. I'm saying I think from a talent perspective, Bud will win the fight. Again, this is not the same Canelo that fought Floyd Mayweather, but I will use this comparison only in this regard. He can fight him like that. I think Bud has a skill edge the same way Floyd did at that time, even though it was a young Canelo. I think Bud can win the fight like that just with his skill. What Crawford cannot do, though. Bud, I don't know if you're going to see this, but take it from me as a avid boxing fan and a super duper fan of yours, Bud Crawford. Some of y'all might not know this. I actually happen to have seen Bud Crawford's 3rd professional fight live. His 3rd fight, right here in York, PA, where I live. He was fighting at the little stadium. We had a little farm team, baseball team here, whatever you want to call it. And he fought there. Because some of you may or may not know, Leonard Langley that's in here sometimes, my father-in-law there, he was a big-time boxing trainer in D.C. He trained a lot of those guys, man, like, What's my man's name? Joppy and what's the other dude's name? Darrell Coley and like a lot of those DC guys, man. You know, he had a nice run. He's actually in the DC Hall of Fame for boxing trainers. But anyway, me and him went and watched, you know, because he was doing some local stuff around here. So we was watching some of the local fights. And this kid, lanky kid, slim kid named Terrence Crawford was fighting in his third professional fight. And I remember, and Leonard would tell you himself if he was in here. I remember saying, hey, man, who is that guy? That guy got a little something with him. We could see it then. Didn't know who he was from a can of paint, but I was like, that dude, who was that? Who was that guy? And who knew he would turn out to be this Bud Crawford? So I have a connection with him, man, that I've been able to have a pleasure of saying I saw him before many people did and thought he was just a talented young guy to now being what he is now. And yeah, man, yeah, I think he gets it done, man, if he just sticks to boxing. But again, Bud, before I go, cannot stand in front of him. Don't play that game with Canelo. Because I know Bud got some dog in him, and every now and then he start feeling it, and he'll stand right in the pocket with you and go bang for bang. Do not do that with Canelo Alvarez. Do not do that with Saul Canelo Alvarez. No. No, sir. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, don't do that. That's all I'm gonna say. But all right, guys. I don't know, man. Maybe if it's worth it, maybe I'll do a little quick video or something after the fight, man, and chop up how the fight went. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. We'll see. But all right, man. Love y'all like always. I appreciate it, man. For anybody who's new here and you like what you saw, right there, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. It's very simple and easy. And like I always tell my good Steeler family here and anybody who's watching, please, guys, stay healthy, stay safe out there. God bless. Thanks for tuning in. And like always, man, I look forward to seeing you guys the next one. Here we go, Steelers. And I'll see you guys for sure for the post-game show, but possibly for you fight fans, possibly a recap of the fight. Can't promise that, but I'll definitely see you guys after the game. Peace.